I just realized that I never hit record, so that's fun. But welcome back to. I'm just going to repeat myself for the recording. But welcome back to D Machine DMs. This is episode 3, The Deed to a Star. This is actually a one shot with Revalor, or Grant. And um, we are working on getting a little bit more of a routine schedule. There's just been some like hoops to jump through between editing and just my own personal life. But we're hoping to get maybe 2 or 3 pieces of content out a week. At least that's my personal goal. We'll see what happens. And I have yet to watch this. So I gave it to our editor, and he sent it back to me after clipping, I think, 15 to 30 minutes off of it. And I'm now going to come back through here and write my notes and write my notes so that way in future D&D sessions I don't contradict myself. So, because things I say now could be held against me later. But for the Twitch viewers, I apologize. I know I just repeated myself. One day I'll figure out this whole streaming thing. But I'll go ahead and get this video playing, and let's see what Revalor does.
So you guys go back to the Iron Tulip, meet up with Dandy, very drunk. I think Connor suggested going and taking your rest. You only have to sleep half as much as everyone else.
Right.
If I recall, your full hit points.
I think I'm -6
Oh, okay.
of my max or whatever. But yeah, I didn't take very much damage during that whole thing.
You're still in good health.
Yeah.
You're not exhausted. But you certainly had a long day. Do you want to I guess like sneak back out? Or do you want to rest and then go out?
Because I'm thinking, I think wake up early might make a little bit more sense. Because I think what might happen, like I said, Revelers had a hell of a day, so he probably just like you said wants to go meditate and fucking relax and take in all this shit. But then he probably wakes up out of his meditation, probably didn't get the best meditation ever, but it was like, all right, I at least rested.
Yeah.
And because he was just like, I need to go figure out more information. That probably
yes, it is.
Okay, you know what? Like, if we're gonna do it that way, yep, I'm gonna just go talk to him now.
Yeah.
Like, I need to get this out of the way because, it's bothering me. It's weighing on my mind.
Certainly.
So.
Okay. So, at some point, you and do you have your cat out?
Yeah, I'll have my cat out.
She's still got this black shadow aura around her. Okay. No one seemed to mention or pay it any mind.
Right.
It looks really cool. So, okay, at some point you make your way over to...
Where'd I go? That was a trip.
To the Temple Court.
Yeah.
And I identify the maybe overused symbol of the helm, the gauntlet in the eye.
Sure.
Especially since you're hanging out with a follower of the helm.
Right.
A supposed, chosen one. Depending on the time, you knock, and either Haley or the other gentleman that you guys didn't actually meet, you saw, either one of them lets you in. Maybe even Cedric, depending on the time of the day. Who knows? They go and wake up Cedric or don't, and he comes up. Ah, Mr. Anju, what can I do for you?
You earlier you said that you may have more information that we might like to discuss together. Is now a good time for that?
Absolutely. Just head back to my office. You guys head back down the steps. Um, Everything looks like it was. Um, Depending on the time of day that you go, um, you may or may not see some of the um, the slaves that were brought in for rescues, um, either eating or sleeping or something. Um,
That's a really good point, Grant.
and So you guys go into his office.
So in the last episode, in Crosses and Daggers, Cedric called out to Revalor, and I think it was like in a mental message saying like, I have more information regarding your family. If you want to hear it, you can come back. Like all you have to do is ask. But they made a deal that he wouldn't mention Revelor's family in front of everyone, or wouldn't make him talk about his family essentially. And he Grant did want to know more about what was going on, and we decided that it was best to do what's called a one shot. So it was just one on one. Grant is on the other side of my laptop, and um, he basically went on his own to talk with Cedric, and um, so this is all content that even all the other players have yet to see, unless they went and watched it on my YouTube, of course. Then they would have seen it like 2 days ago. I keep forgetting my camera's over here now. It was over here. I'll have to move that again. Um, but so because where we had left off in Crosses and Daggers, I wasn't exactly sure where would fit best because they technically didn't go to sleep, but they were like headed that way. So we were kind of breaking it up between either sneaking out after everyone goes to bed, or because he's an elf, they only meditate for 4 hours. They don't need to get 8 hours of sleep. Um, just waking up earlier than everyone else and doing the thing was also a option. Um, Looks like that thing was off. But yeah.
So he lets you in, closes the door behind you guys, or behind you.
Right.
Yeah. What takes a seat? What would you like to know?
Well, you said you had more information about Father, possibly. I haven't seen him in a very long time, and I was wondering if you had any news of him. Given the way that you inflected earlier, I assume it not to necessarily be happy news.
Were you close with your father?
Not really. When I say not happy news, I mean Father's probably up to something he shouldn't be. He always was a very stubborn man. I suppose that's where I get it from. But he and I never really saw eye to eye on many things. It's one of the reasons why I haven't been home in so long.
Despite my questioning, you're, from what I know of your father, he did his best to take care of everyone. Humans and dwarves and anyone who lived there. How long has it been since you've been home?
Is this in character?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm actually trying to remember when, like, 'cause I don't think I ever put a hard date on that.
I don't think that there was a hard date. I know that you're, what, 150?
Somewhere in there. I think I'm 180 something like that.
Yeah, so I mean,
So-
it's kind of up to you.
Right,
And
I mean- I'm trying to think of like elf maturity, like when around the time I would have left, because I would have been like, "Fuck you, Dad," you know, like.
which is kind of an, like, so out of character, which is kind of like
Yeah.
an interesting concept that I haven't had to think about because everyone else is so young.
Yeah.
You were alive
Yeah, I think.
for the Mittalon Council.
Yeah, technically.
You know, you, like, at 150 years old,
Like, I still would have been kind of a young elf
Yeah.
at the time, and I might not have been paying attention. But it would have been like, you know,
it's probably like in the back part of your,
it would have been like I grew up in the '90s, so it would have been like me knowing about Bill Clinton. I knew that was a person, you
yeah,
know, but like I didn't know much about him. And
yeah.
I'm just like, okay, I knew he existed though.
But you would know more than someone who was born in 2000.
Yeah, exactly. Who was like,
Yeah.
oh, like I learned about that in school. It's like, all right,
I have not thought about that. Like,
Yeah.
you would, I mean, you are proficient in history,
yeah,
so, like, if, by all means, if there's ever something I say, you can
Right.
history check it,
sure, okay, yeah,
and I can, either DM it to you, or,
yeah.
would be really dramatic and make everyone leave the room.
Well, that's fun. Like,
Or, like, whisper it to you.
yeah, well, that's kind of fun. I like almost don't like. That's one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to do this before or after everyone
Yeah.
else, because I didn't want to interrupt the session.
No.
The limited time that we get already just
Yeah.
to do my personal thing. Even
might
though that
end up
like
regretting
I
that.
need everyone to leave the room. That's fun.
It is certainly fun for, like, just, like, a quick,
Yeah.
but no, this definitely needed to be, like, a one session, and I'll encourage all of the players, like,
Yeah.
if there's something that, like, appears relevant or something, if you want to go shopping while everyone's asleep, like just fucking do it
Yeah,
with
right.
everyone else.
Just say like, hey, I'm gonna do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer the question, Cedric's question, I'm thinking like, because I want to put it, because what elves live to like maybe 700 years, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even longer.
So let's make it this way. So, the council was formed, what was it, approximately like 100 years ago,
Yeah.
right? So 20 years into the council, Mittalon died.
Right.
And then 2 years after that, the council dispersed and started their own things.
Yeah.
And you know that your family was a part of, like, the high council, high society of Adroxia.
Right.
So at that point, you would be approximately 72 years old.
Like around the time that happened. Okay.
And then when the war struck, you would have been 130. So 50 years. Yeah. So there's, 50 years from the time that all, like, the council quit being a thing,
Right.
and the war. So your family would have arrived in Odroxia in your 70s.
Okay.
I feel like you'd have a pretty good memory on that.
Yeah. That's a good point.
You wouldn't have kept up with everyone, and you wouldn't be privy to all the knowledge of the council members.
Right.
And likely just because, like, the way that I think about it. I can't remember the people who were on my team when I worked at
Right.
5 years ago. I can't remember all of their names.
Sure.
So like equally like that stuff's gonna fade away after so many years. So some of the names might sound familiar,
Right.
but you might kind of miss a few steps.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of like if it would make more sense for me to have left before the war or after the war started.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure which.
I guess I'm trying to like patch
Yeah.
plot holes.
Yeah. I'm trying to help too, because like I'm like, okay, yeah, like I want this to make sense, like, but yeah, I mean, I guess, I mean, it obviously wouldn't have been more than a century, because I would have been like 80 about a century ago. So yeah, I'd say probably, I guess just to make it vague, so we can change it if we need to say like, oh, probably, just shy of a century, not quite a century. So we can say that could be anywhere between like 80 and 100 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to get back in character, yeah. So nearly a century I've been gone.
As a human, I'm always very jealous of your guys' time. At some point, the infrastructure in Adroxia had failed. At some point within the last century. And while Adroxia kept the High Council, they made one person in charge. Ephemeral was crowned king. And your family, you're part of the royal family. When the war broke out, while Ephemeral and the Council of Adroxia and the leadership in Duvencrane elected to remain as neutral as possible, Grana went on the offensive. The Queen started having humans, dwarves, and anyone that wasn't Elvish or Fey descent murdered, killed on sight, burned alive, horricious, making it the first territory that had, by Iornians standing, had to be the first territory to be reclaimed. While it was reclaimed and is now under the govern of Iorn, the elves or Feykind that remain to live there are left to just live there. Grana was made their capital due to something worth protecting. The only thing I know about it is the tree of Kamasilva. I don't know what it is. Could just be a big tree.
Would I know anything about that?
Make a history check. Oh. I give you dice already?
Yeah, I mean, I stole some earlier just in case. 15.
15?
Yeah.
the tree of Kama Silva is not actually a tree. It is a crack in space and time. It is a portal to the Feywilds. Grana was made their capital to protect it, and the humans have no interest in it. They don't even begin to understand what it is. So it doesn't affect them. So they let them do their thing.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and basically, yeah, I'm gonna tell that to Cedric. Let Cedric know. Yeah. So this tree is not actually a tree. It's a portal to the Feywilds. In fact, it's very important to the Elvish people. But humans don't seem to have much interest in it, or nor much understanding in it. But I suspect that's why it's so important to the elves.
That would make sense. You would know from like readings or just communication that they call it the Tree of Kama Silva.
Yeah.
Because the Kama Silva was the first queen of Grana, or just at least of Ephron.
Yeah.
But as Mittalon began to become civilized, was overthrown, and she fled into the portal. However, the portal is not just like this big open void. It literally looks like a crack starting from the bottom, and it actually cracks and branches out like a tree.
That's so cool.
And it's one of the it's not a well kept secret, but it is a secret.
Okay.
To anyone who makes Elvish history or anything like that, like part of their interest, they would probably come across information about it.
Okay.
But by all means, is not a tourist site.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. Okay.
So the Queen of Grana, after the Ionian army invaded, she fled. Not before taking on a name for herself as the Condemner.
At some point, she made her way across Ephron and wound up in Adraxia with no power over the city or state, but a safe haven. About 3 months ago, I had heard word from a captain that people were being sent to aid in the rescue of other humans and dwarves. I don't know the how or why, but they found your father. And they killed him.
Revelor kind of is going to sit back a little bit in his chair and just let that sort of wash over him a little bit. And, my father's dead. I thought this moment would be happy for me, and yet all I can feel is grief and shame. Strange. On the one hand, I feel like I should have been there for him. But on the other hand, if I were, I might be dead now as well.
Potentially. In the vacuum left by your father's absence, it was up to the Council of Adroxia and the remaining part of your family to lead the city, lead the state of Ephron. Unfortunately, the next of kin has been missing for about a century.
And because I've already been kind of heading that direction, as he's been kind of saying this, like even before he kind of quite got to that point, Revelor's kind of getting a look of realization on his face. It's my fault. He says this out loud. It's my fault. This is my fault.
Don't blame yourself. You didn't know.
True. But I suppose now that I do, it's about time to take some responsibility. I suppose it's almost poetic at a time like this. My father's words come back to me. No elf has demons that he himself did not create.
I don't know a lot about what's gone wrong in the last 3 months.
Man, only 20 minutes in, and we just got packed with a whole bunch of lore. Like I mentioned before, I'm taking the time watching this myself, so that I can take my notes. Um, and I'm sure glad I did, because I've already got like almost a page of notes of things that they're important. I might know it now, but I'm not going to remember 2 weeks from now. If you guys are just joining us on this video, then welcome, obviously. But I'm a forgetful person. I try my best. But if it wasn't for me writing all these notes, I wouldn't remember this. Um, the there was parts of this that I already forgot. I forgot about the first queen of Ephron, Kama Silva. I forgot about her running in through the portal that looks like a tree. I remember the portal, but um, and then of course everything that had to do with a timed stamp. Totally forgot about all of it. But uh, I mean, we still have just over an hour, and I'm already a page into notes. So, if you guys end up with any questions or something that might need clarifying, definitely say something in chat. Let me know. I'll pause it and I can answer the best I can. Oh, and featuring our old man cat Bubba.
What was happening to these people is the beginning of what happened to Grano. I suspect the Condemner may have something to do with this. It doesn't make sense to me. With her reputation, she would have killed all of her family.
Well, either she's less involved than we think, or she has a very compelling reason not to kill my whole family. Perhaps she hopes to control them. After all, if my family is in fact the royal family, perhaps she needs to keep some of them around as figureheads of some sort. Hard to say. Perhaps my father, being the strong old man that he was too hard-headed to be reasoned with, or to be blackmailed or threatened. But maybe the rest of my family, especially after the death of my father, was a little bit easier to deal with. And having them around would grant some legitimacy. I don't know, I've been away far too long, clearly. Father's dead. He always said I'd be the death of him. Well, what's the next step? Obviously, I can see you're doing your best to help those that you can, but this is a problem that requires far more than just rescuing a few people here and there. The situation calls for much greater action to balance the scales.
And unfortunately, only a couple weeks after your father's passing, our temple in Adroxia was shut down, demolished. I don't know.
You just haven't received word, or
We haven't received word, and our teleportation circles don't connect us. We haven't gotten any letters. I I would hate to think of what happened to all of them. While Helm is the human god of protection,
What's up, Talkplay? How
Helm
are
is
you?
human. But Helm is the god of protection. We're always so easily confused
come to
a racist outcast of religion.
Nice. This is Revalors one shot. So, unless you've watched it on YouTube, I don't think you've seen this yet.
We just simply want everyone to be treated correctly. Everyone to have the same chance for a better life.
Ooh, spicy.
And stealing malnourished and beaten slaves to travel through the icy tundras and the mountains and all the incredible beasts through Ephron's forests in between Adroxia and Dupacrane is no small feat.
That'd be awesome.
Especially unnoticed.
Just, don't forget to subscribe.
You've done quite well.
Not that I know.
Keep it healthy. Right, I'm sorry. I'm thinking like a little bit out of character here because like I've told you how my mind works and the groundwork is being laid. Where at the very least, like Reveler definitely feels like there's a bit
Perfect.
of responsibility there. As much as he's tried to kind of run away from that, like
Are you good for this Saturday?
his inaction and kind of gallivanting.
I don't know if
sort
you've
of, like,
responded yet.
caused a lot of shit to happen.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So he's kind of taking this all in.
As you're like internalizing and deciding on what you think might be the best course of action, or even just choosing your next words, you hear a couple of dings. And you'll excuse me.
Of course.
Still right here. And he's just, shuffling papers and doing his mail delivery service. He takes a few minutes to put that stuff in, and if you're
Worth mentioning, if you haven't watched the last episode yet, so they have this magic shelf that is basically magical mail service. You put things into they have bags of holding that have like portals put into them, and so you just put something into the portal and it gets sent to the temple, and if it needs to go to a different temple, he just takes it out of the box and puts it into a different box and it goes there. Very fancy magical mail service. Bag of Amazon. I think that's probably trademarked. Probably go with bag of Mittalon. Bag of the Helm.
if you're watching them, it's a few vials of this, and some foods, and every once in a while you'll smell something, and at one point, like, he pulls out like a whole mace, puts it into a different box, and like the boxes are like this big.
Sure, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Has there been any word of the rest of my family? Do they yet live that we know of?
That we know of, everyone else is still alive.
concerns me. I hate to think what the rest of my family is going through right now. For all I know, they may be helping. It could be that my father, stubborn as he is, keeping everyone else in line. Perhaps I judged him too harshly. But that's youth for you, I suppose.
Do you think that the rest of your family would do these atrocities?
As I said, I've been away for a long time. I'd like to think that my family would not be capable of this sort of thing. I would hope, at least at worst, maybe they're under duress, cooperating just to stay alive. But I don't know anymore. Mother always did have a bit of a fiery temper, and Soprel did inherit some of that. My brothers, I don't know. My brothers took more after my father, I suppose, but I'd like to think that my family would never involve themselves in such a thing, but times like these, one cannot afford to be idealistic. I may have to confront aspects of my family I never hoped to.
I pray that the rest of your family is okay.
Well,
I don't know who or what has caused such a shift of demeanor. But this is the worst the war has gotten since we stopped the horrors at Grava.
well, we're kind of. I'm assuming he's kind of been sitting down this time for a long time in the office, and stands up and kind of clenches a fist and looks away, and then looks at Cedric in the eyes and says, "Maybe it's time we started doing something more."
What do you have in mind?
I don't know yet,
I'm gonna flip a table.
but I know. I need to make it to the Omen country. I need to find my family, find out what's going on. And I know I'm going to need a good disguise because I don't know if I had to put on at this point or not. But I'll say I had to put on extra because clearly the red hair. If the red hair gives me away to you, then it will surely give me away to the elves.
There's two things that give away a member of your family. Your hair and your ears.
Are my ears different from normal elf ears?
No, they're just elf ears.
Oh, they're just elf
Yeah.
ears. Okay.
Because
Okay,
half
talk
elves have
Thanks for stopping
so
by. I'll see you
full
Saturday.
elves have like really
Like
long, pointed.
like
Yeah, half elves are like much shorter and rounded.
Yeah.
And then just humans are,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
I'm almost regretting not taking there was an allergy invitation that I was going back and forth, and one of them was use disguise self at will.
oh,
And I was like, that'll be next level, or next time I get a
sure.
invitation. But in the meantime, fuck.
I think I've heard Grant say that multiple times. Just like, man, I should have taken that Eldridge evocation. Is that what it's called? Oh man, I should have taken the disguise self. Oh, I should have taken. This would have been perfect for this situation. And if that's not like D&D in a handbag, I don't know what is.
I can get you to do them, Frank. I can get you and Connor and the rest of your party.
That will take some convincing on my part. I know at least one other member of our party has an interest in going there. But I would appreciate any help I can get.
What set you on my path?
Sorry, what set you in that?
Yeah. How did you meet Connor?
Well, you mentioned it, it was very strange. The village I met him in, there was a boy carting around this giant pot, sort of a vase, and it was smoking. And I thought it was a bit of a strange sight at the time, and I was about ready to not pay it much more mind. No one seemed to react strangely to it. And I saw what I later realized to be the symbol of Helm in the smoke. And it was very prominent and a very strange thing to see at the time.
Sometimes when you're a dungeon master and like when your players remember things from sessions from so long ago, you can't keep the poker face. It made me feel so happy and like proud of myself that it was such a memorable moment that like without even referencing notes or even asking me, like he remembered these things. And that's if that's not like the most important part of storytelling, I don't know what is. um, but yeah, so you saw me break my break character, and uh, it just made me very happy.
It was something I'd never seen before, and no one else seemed to be seeing the same thing. And when I happened to run into Connor, he was wearing a medallion with the same symbol.
This one?
Yes. And it just struck me as important at the time. I couldn't tell you why necessarily, but it was just as if something was trying to communicate something to me. So I followed Connor for a time.
It was me. I was trying to communicate with him.
I suppose I've sort of been swept up in a bit of an adventure, for lack of a better word, although this particular adventure, it's not as fun as it usually seems in the stories.
Believe it or not, I have some experience in adventures. I spent quite a few years wandering around Iorn, before I found the helm. I dedicated the last 30 years of my life to it. I look back and I only see the fun times. The drinking at the tavern with all of my friends. Never a worry or a bother to think that they wouldn't be there the next day.
Man, this camera quality.
It's enlightening. Knowing what life can be and why it's worth protecting.
Seeing as how we're in the church, I suppose it's only appropriate that I pray this one day I reach a moment where I can look back on this adventure with the same feeling that you have for yours. Not worrying about the terrible parts, but remembering the good parts. Unfortunately, in the meantime, it looks like we have some dark work to do.
Indeed we do.
And with that, I think I'm going to get up. I think I'm going to try to get back before I'm missed, assuming that I snuck out. And I guess if I didn't, maybe people are waiting. So they've probably been waiting for a while. So unless you had anything else that you wanted to tell me or anything else you wanted to ask me.
Did you look at the writings under the conch?
I didn't even realize that there were writings under there.
So, the conch that's identical to Dandy's,
Right.
he, like a normal person, held a conch up to his ear to hear the ocean.
Right.
Something that Dandy has yet to do. Which was why it was really funny that he wasn't there for that.
Oh, and Dandy already left.
And he hears not only the water rushing, but he hears someone talking. And he's done his best to write down what they're saying. But it's about the equivalent of trying to write down a spoken language that you don't speak.
Okay.
And while you guys were there, he expressed that, like, he doesn't have the slightest clue on what that language is. He's made out a few words. I don't know if you wrote that down.
I don't know if I did. I mean, if I did, it won't be here.
And, like, the names that he...
I do remember there were a lot of names, that's right.
Yeah. They were names of lore around Mittalon. like including Garmoth.
Right.
But the rest of it, he couldn't understand and was that's not the person I was looking for. Cedric, there he is. He expressed his he expressed that it was upsetting for him because he speaks 6 languages. And he doesn't know what they're saying.
Sorry, I was getting a phone call that I don't know. If it's important, they'll leave me a message, I suppose.
I like this too in a way because it's really clever. Cause or maybe it's just convenient, I suppose. Because even if I were to like comprehend languages, or there's literally a indication that you just understand all languages, it wouldn't matter because it's him writing the phonetic sounds of the language he doesn't understand, so it still wouldn't translate. That's great. I love it.
It would be a 2-person thing.
You can't. Yeah, like you.
One person would have to read out the words, the vowels, but in continuation, he doesn't know if it's 1 word, if it's 2 words, if it's a sentence.
Yeah, so if he pronounces it incorrectly or something, it's like, well, now I missed the words.
So basically, whoever speaks the language that they're speaking, someone has to read it out loud, and then do their best to interpret it.
Right. Oh man, that's crazy.
When I thought of that,
That's great. So you thought of that on purpose. That's great.
Vaguely, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Because I would really love for you guys to crack this code.
Sure.
But it'll take a hot minute.
And I do like that it's there too. Because like that was my first thought, was just like, oh, well, there, like, and my character would probably have enough knowledge because he's Arcana and proficient. Like, oh yeah, there are spells that you can use for this sort of thing. But like, yeah, trying to take, like I said, a phonetic, like, it would be like writing phonetic Japanese. And then, like, trying to get characters out of it.
Yes.
You can't, like...
Nope.
No. Like, you have to go... Once again, you have to go to a Japanese speaker, hope you could speak the English phonetic Japanese well enough that they would, like, be able to translate it for you.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, he would ask you if you gotten a chance to look at the writings, and if you want, since we're kind of doing this one-on-one,
Sure.
If you want, you can try to identify the conch.
That was my next thing, is I was thinking of maybe trying to do that.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah, that's just a ritual, I think, that I have, so yeah, let's double check. Attacks, there we go. Oh, that's not spells, that doesn't happen.
You're proficient in Arcana, right?
I believe so. Yes. Arcana, History, Investigation, Perception, Religion. Those are mine.
So you take the few minutes to cast your Identify spell on the conch, and it's a very simple tool. You're able to determine that it's of this hasn't come up at all yet. this would be a history or a nature check.
Well, do you want me to succeed at it or no? Because I mean, I'm not terrible with nature, but I'm not proficient. I am proficient with history, so I guess. Or yeah, I mean, I guess it's just whichever makes the most sense.
Okay. Let's do both.
All right.
Roll history first.
Okay.
No,
Or neural nature.
roll nature first.
Okay. Oh, that's a 3 even with my bonus.
Okay.
That was a nat 1 with my +2.
Oh no.
Okay.
So. Fuck.
Through your identify spell, you are able to determine that it is a tool for mermaids or sirens to use to lure people in. It essentially allows them to use a charm spell. However, it is also used to communicate through long distances of time. Or, not time. Long distances of...
Right. Just could be communicated over
long distances. Yeah. Sorry, there's supposed to be a period there.
Yeah.
And with being able to determine that it's, it's a shell.
Yeah.
And that it's a tool made by and used for sirens or mermaids, that it came from somewhere with water. And that's about it.
Fucking.
You don't need that history. Yeah, you don't need the history check.
Just because, yeah, the first one failed. So, like, I won't have context for the history anyway.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I don't think I think the last nat 1 I got was like a hit roll.
Oh, was that a natural 1?
That was a nat 1.
Oh, wow.
That was because I got the +2 from my, I don't know, whatever ability score was tied to nature. I had a +2 on that.
Mm.
And so, yeah, that was a nat 1 nature check. Nope.
You don't really learn anything about it that Cedric doesn't know.
Okay.
He appreciates you looking there. Let me know if there's anything that I can do, or the church. Is there anything that you need? Connor knows where to find us. But you're also welcome here.
Thank you. And Revalor goes to leave, hesitates for just a moment, looks back, and then gives Cedric kind of just looks at Cedric, nods, and then kind of leaves. I'm gonna just, for your insight, just what happened there is Revelor just thought about the demon that's fucking controlling him because there's a man of the cloth offering to help him with, he must be helped with.
It's a secret.
Yeah, Revelor just had a moment of like, well, I do have this demon problem, but that might be a little bit much for right now.
Maybe that's tomorrow's problem.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know, there's already been enough suspicion around me, I don't know if I'm ready to drop the fact that I have a demon on this guy.
When you go around, do you typically just have the cat up on your shoulders?
Yeah, typically. Unless I'm specifically setting it to do something, or
Sure.
because I give it kind of free reign if it wants to go investigate stuff or whatever. But typically it's just up on my shoulder when it's not doing stuff.
Okay. So you leave his office and you go back up to the temple, and do you leave?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll leave and just kind of say farewell to whoever's, at or around the door on the way
Sure.
out. Pull up my hood and head back to the inn.
Okay.
Or I guess I'm heading back. If we're doing it in a different house, then I'll head back to, instead of leaving, I guess I'll head back to the party.
Okay.
If that happens. And yeah.
After you are free from the temple court, you hear what sounds like behind you. I knew I chose correctly. Revalor, the king.
I'm just gonna clutch my clothes a little bit and just.
You look over your shoulder, it's
Yeah.
your cat's head.
Right, exactly. I know, it's like my cat's sitting there, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like trying not, like, because like I tried to, ignore some of these as best as I can,
Uh-huh.
but like this one kind of got to Revalor a little bit, and it's like, oh Jesus, like, oh man, and like trying to not visibly be like upset because there are probably people around, whether it's my party or whether it's like out on the street, trying not to look like the crazy man that he kind of is.
Regardless of what time of day it is, so the temple court is opposite side of the city.
Yeah.
From the bazaar and okay, so if the city was leveled,
Yeah.
you would have the high. I can't remember the words I chose. Genova. So you'd have the Highland District, the royalty homes, and then just like if there was a connector between them, it would be the Temple Court.
Okay.
Going to the Flat Top District,
Gotcha.
like the residential homes and stuff like that, and then below that would be the bazaar, the pit, most of the varying taverns and inns and restaurants and stuff like that. And you see, interestingly enough, if it is the evening, all of the built shops are closed, and a lot of the vendors are like packing up carts.
Right.
But there's an equal amount of vendors opening carts. And you still smell wonderful foods. You still see all sorts of interesting creatures. You even see a tabaxi that you haven't seen since you left Ephron. Large feline person. Right. And you walk by probably what you think is probably making this area smell the best is a kind of dug-in, built-in restaurant. Still open. There's still a bunch of lights in, and it's called Ramsey's. And you just hear a lot of screaming. You're not sure what's going on. There's a sign out front saying fresh bison and bison and eggs. And like the place is crowded. There's a lot of people in here. They're all sitting at tables, eating and having a good time. It's not like screams of terror
Oh,
or anything
right,
like
yeah,
that.
it's just people
Like,
shouting over each other.
yeah,
And talking,
you know, kitchen
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, you know, they seem to be having some sort of deal on bison and eggs, and um, I know that Revalor is not. I know Revalor wanted to. Hmm. There's something that I want to happen.
Sure.
Like rolling this dice is gonna make me feel better. I'm trying to decide if this is gonna be the best way to do it.
You know, sometimes rolling the dice.
You know what? I'll let your dice decide.
Giving it a
As you
second.
get back to Iron Tulip, depending on how you roll,
Sometimes just taking the second and rolling your dice a couple times gives my brain enough time to like think and figure out what I'm trying to do. But it also scares the players a little bit, and that is what money cannot buy.
Okay.
this might determine on when you did it, when you left.
Okay, and then yeah, we can.
Roll a perception check.
18 with my bonus.
Okay. After everyone had gotten back, Creorn, Connor went to bed. Dandy and Otar stayed in the tavern. As you get back up to the Iron Tulip, you see a short, hooded creature standing up on his tiptoes, looking into the window. And as you're kind of passing by, the only people you can see from the window is Dandy and Otar. And as you pass by, just kind of interestingly looking at this creature, it turns around, the hood falling back a little bit. You see golden eyes, green skin, floppy ears. It's just wearing a cloak and a large book, like how your satchel is, but
Yeah.
at the end of your satchel is just a large book, and it's just looking at you. It's hesitating.
Gosh, the autocorrect on this.
It appears to be a goblin, but it's clean. It's not dirty. It's got clothes. It has a book. You can engage it, or you can head inside.
I'll go ahead and engage. Hello there. Can I help you with something?
Hi. Do you want to buy the stars?
The stars.
Mhm.
What kind of stars would I be buying?
Let me see your hand.
Kind of like look around. Okay. I'll hold out my hand.
And like, you know, you've seen a lot of people like do like palm readings and stuff like that.
Sure.
And he's kind of like looking at your palms, looks at you, and like sees past you,
Okay, sure. Yeah.
and then focuses on the cat. have the star view. Looks up, and he points. As he points, you swear you see the star actually shine brighter. He goes, yeah. Opens his book, starts flipping through pages, and it's like to us, Grant and Damien, it looks like the fakest freaking gold-lined freaking like you bought a star certificate. But for time appropriate, it actually looks like a deed to a house or a deed to land. Like it looks like, and it's actual gold around.
Right.
And it, it's got some fucking mumble jumble on there.
Right.
But it says, I guess how do I want to say it? It's essentially saying it is star number 592,752.
Okay.
592,752. Yes.
I was just typing around it so I'll have context. I typed the number first, and I was like, okay, now I'm going to type things around it so I know what that is.
Yeah. Do you want to buy? Oh.
I'm going to laugh uproariously, and I'm going to say, all right, how much?
50 gold.
50 gold. You know what, Goblin? You've tickled me. All right. You've got yourself a deal.
Yes.
God, I love nat ones.
Make a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom, okay. Let me, oh shoot. Oh, good. Good, I have pluses and...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus, not enough, though. Well, maybe. Oh, actually, with my plus, that might be alright. 16?
Okay.
My favorite nat one so far. I agree. That was a good one.
So you exchange the gold over, and he hands you this certificate. And as you lay your hand on the certificate, you watch as it kind of flashes with a bit of gold.
Sure.
And your name, your full name, perfectly spelled, is inlaid onto the certificate. And as the exchange, as you see that flash, in that flash, you see Connor's face, Creorn's face, Dandy's face, Otar's face. And then the words are there.
All their names? Or
you see their faces.
Their faces. And then...
Like at the forefront of your mind, like they're right there in front of you for a split second. You bring them. Connor, Creorn, Dandy, Otar. They my stars.
I'm kind of still holding the paper and kind of like reeling from like that momentary just probably half a second flash of everybody all at once in my head.
Yeah.
And then bring them a second. And I'm kind of a little bit struck. Perhaps I will. And I kind of put it hastily in my bag. Perhaps I will, so that they may my stars as well. And then I'll head back inside.
Yes.
Or I'll make it back inside.
He resets his hood and starts peeking through the window again. And as you walk inside and kind of like trying to regain from everything that's happened today, you look back out the window. He's not there.
Of course.
You still have the certificate.
Right. my inventory. I have indeed to a star. Okay.
Okay, so do you go up to your room to so yeah, you
At this point, I snuck out.
yeah, so
Okay.
you snuck out
Like early.
no.
Oh no, late.
Yeah, so you postponed your bedtime and
Got you. I
went
snuck. I
with this.
snuck out after everyone else went to bed.
Yep.
And I guess maybe Dandy and
You-
Ovar
you-
might still be in the bar, or I guess they are.
Yeah, they are in the bar. You tried to rest, but there was too many questions running through your mind.
So yeah.
So you
And
went
that
to
makes
investigate.
perfect sense. Yeah.
And as you get up to your room, you're just looking at this thing. It's like, what the hell did I just do? Make an Arcana check.
Okay. I think I have a 5 in there. What is that? Yep, it's +5. So, good grief, this has been rolling weird today. Nope. 21.
Really?
Yeah.
It is magical.
Okay.
There is something magical about this scroll.
Okay.
If you want to take the time to identify
about
it.
to say, like, can I? Unless you were gonna say anything else that I noticed just offhand, but like, I will go ahead and identify it, so that'll be moot, I suppose.
As you identify it, there's only one thing that you can understand about this scroll. All of the words and all the fancy writing and everything is gone. There's just symbols and words and, like, none of it makes sense, but the entire paper from edge to edge, top to bottom, is just covered in different words, maybe even different languages, you don't know.
Right.
But it has one magical ability. It follows you in death.
Holy crap.
So, if you die, wherever you go, that scroll goes with you. As long as it is on your person or in your bag of holding, whatever. As long as it's on you, it will go with you.
That's fantastic. Alrighty then. Well, after that increasingly weird-ass day, Revalors going to once again attempt to meditate.
Okay. You're exhausted. I mean, you conk out. It might not be a restful meditation, but
Right.
like you get your long rest and
I push the long rest.
yep. I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna let everyone else do that because they presumably are just going to bed. But that was just kind of undetermined.
Right.
The plot thickens.
I've been spoiled because I did D&D twice, essentially, this week.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
You're
You
fine.
do it now, and I need to do it tomorrow. Oh,
All right.
that was
I'm going to end this.
yeah.
Epic. What a lot of fun. I know, I didn't have the other 4 players. I mean, it's a one-shot. That one-shot is definitely one of my favorite sessions that we have done. Which, I mean, it's not saying a lot. Like, I think in total we're up to session 14. and this is episode 3 for you guys. But it was a lot of fun. You know, Grant's a very awesome, very fun player to have, and I appreciate him greatly. I also appreciate him for taking the time to edit these videos and hang out with me in Twitch just to keep me company. I appreciate all of my players. But yeah, this little one shot was a lot of fun for me. Got to give him a little insider knowledge, and he grows closer to the overall arc of the story. He's got some insider knowledge that nobody else has, and it makes for some interesting conversations in the next session. And after discussing with Grant, I believe we'll have that next session up on YouTube for you guys here in just a few days. As well as this Saturday, mark this on your calendars, this Saturday I will be going live on Twitch with most of the party. Otar won't be able to make it, but we are finally sitting down, streaming, and recording our origin story. So that will be an open conversation between myself and all of the players to basically talk about what's common knowledge between the party from their 0 sessions all the way up to session number 10, which was the session before we started recording. So anything that doesn't quite make sense to you yet in the 3 episodes that are out, make sure you come and hang out with us on Saturday. Let's see here, Saturday the 29th. We will be, I think our goal is to go, our plan is to go live by 3 o'clock. Everyone should be coming over like 1:30, 2 o'clock to get all set up. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. If you guys come and hop in and into Twitch, you can ask myself or the party any questions that you have, either about the campaign, about us personally, or about the players or the characters. Come and have some fun with us. But yeah, again, this Saturday, I can't wait to see you guys. Keep an eye out on my YouTube channel as I post the uninterrupted versions of these episodes before I review them. So that gives you guys a chance to kind of watch through it, and then join me a couple days later to ask me any questions of anything that just didn't make sense in the in the episode before, or you can just join me and watch it all over again. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I will see you guys around the table. Good night.